The APA Style Manual, or the Publication Manual of the American Psychological Association, now in its 6th edition, provides reference and citation guidelines for writing, formatting, and structuring professional papers in the social and behavioral sciences. This video will cover some of the basics, including citing various sources, citing authors, citing titles, in-text quotation, and reference list basics. First, we'll cite an article from an online periodical. A citation includes information that leads the reader back to a specific document or a specific section in a document. On page 169, the manual tells you when to cite. So when do you cite? You cite the work of those individuals whose ideas, theories, or research have directly influenced your work. The golden rule is that if you use somebody else's work for your own paper or their ideas to influence your paper, you have to cite their work. And you can cite their work within the text or in the reference list. A reference list includes citations that are mentioned within the document. So, the format for an article from an online periodical includes these parts. To cite the author, you have to enter the last name and followed by the first name. You only initial the names. You have to include the year of publication in parentheses. Don't include a month or a date, even if the document has that. For the title, you only capitalize the first letter of the actual title or the subtitle. Do not italicize. You don't have to add quotation marks. For the title of the actual journal, you capitalize each word and you do italicize the whole title. For the volume and issue number, you include the issue number in parentheses after the volume number. So here we see that the volume number is 2 and the issue is 1. And if you use specific pages, you can include the specific pages, followed by after a comma. And since this article is found online, you have to include the URL. So you would put retrieved from, and then you would include the URL home address. If it has a DOI, which is a digital object identifier, you would include that instead of the URL. And for more information, you can see pages 185, 191, and 198. Citing electronic content can be very tricky. For example, is the document you're looking at a PDF file? Is it a YouTube video? Is it an online article? Or is it a blog post? Does it even have an author? Is the author a person or an organization? Your citation will vary on a case-by-case basis depending on what information is available. For example, if there's no date, there's a specific rule you have to follow for that. The APA manual does not include every possible combination that you can find out there, so you have to know what kind of document you're looking at, and then refer to the APA manual. Let's go over citing a web page. Let's say that you're looking at a web page, and it has an author, it has a date, but it's not a PDF file, it's not a video, it's just information on a web page. Well, the general format is you include the last name first and middle names initialed, like the previous example. The title is not capitalized. You only capitalize the first letter of the title and subtitle, and you include a format description within brackets. So for example, if it's a timeline, you would write in timeline. Also, if it's a PDF file, you would write in PDF file. If it's just a web page, you could just write in web page. You would include the URL after retrieved from, and that's pretty much it. That is the basics of it. The date is usually found way in the bottom, and it's usually the copyright date. For more information, see pages 171 and 172 of the manual. Let's say that you want to cite a print book, a physical book. You would look on the title page and the back of the title page for this information. You would include the author's name, last name first, followed by the initials of the first or middle name. And then you would include the date or the copyright date of the publication. You would include the title and the subtitle and only capitalize the first letter of each. Period. And then you would include the place of publication, colon, and then include the publisher. And to see more information, see 203, page 203. Citing an electronic book includes the same general format. The only thing that changes is at the end, instead of writing in the publisher and the place of publication, you would write in retrieved from and then include the URL. If it's an electronic book found only online, include only the URL. If it's a digital version of a print book, include what version it is in brackets. And see page 203 for more information. Let's say that you want to quote conversation that you had with somebody or an interview. You would only include an in-text citation. That is, you would only mention it within your text, not in the reference list, because there is no document that the reader can refer to. And you can do this in two ways. You can mention the author, initial followed by last name, and then within parentheses, personal communications, which is what the APA style manual calls interviews, and that is on page 179, comma, followed by the exact date that you interviewed or had the conversation. You can also do this format, which just put everything in parentheses. If it's an interview that you found in an archive, please see page 214 for the format. While the APA manual does not have a listing for YouTube videos, it does include video as audiovisual material or media on page 209. And the general format is this. The author's last name followed by the first name and initials, and then in parentheses you write in producer, and then period followed by the title of the video in italics, and right afterwards you put the format in brackets. So in this case I just put YouTube video, and then instead of retrieved from, you would write in available from, and then the URL, and the URL is not italicized. In-text citations include two very basic things, just the author and the date in parentheses. That is a basic format. The three basic elements you include in your text when you're quoting is the author, the year, and the page number in parentheses. Now there are two types of quotes, the short quote and the long quote. If it's less than 40 words, you can include those words in your text within quotation marks. If it's more than 40 words, you have to include them in a block. So you would put a colon and then click enter, and then you would have to center your paragraph in the middle of your page. Please see pages 170 and 171 for more specific examples. When you're paraphrasing or putting somebody else's ideas into your own words, you have to cite the work. And you should include the author, the year, and the page number or paragraph number. Even if you put it into your own words, you still have to reference the authors or author. Otherwise, it's plagiarism. The general format for authors is last name first, comma, first name initialed, period, and then include the copyright date within parentheses. When there's no author, the title moves into the author position. You alphabetize the citation in your reference page by the first significant word in the title, omitting the articles a, an, and the. There's at least 4 ways to cite a work by one author. For example, if you're mentioning the author in your text, you would write the author's last name and the date within parentheses. If you are actually mentioning the date and the author in the text, you don't need parentheses. You just include the date, comma, author's last name. If let's say you're referencing an idea found in another document, you would include the author's last name and the date in parentheses, separated by a comma. If you're quoting and you have a specific page number, you can include the author's last name, the date, and the page number within parentheses. For your reference list, the basic style is last name, comma, first name initialed, and then the year of publication in parentheses closed by a period. When you're citing a work with 2 authors within your text, you don't have to list them alphabetically. You list them by the order of their appearance. There's 2 ways to cite. If you're citing the name of the authors in your text, you include the copyright date in parentheses the first time that you mention it. The second time that you mention them in a paragraph, you would do the same thing. Now, you can also just mention their work and mention the authors within parentheses, including the copyright date. And the second time you do that, or the third time, you would do the same thing. When you're citing a work by 2 authors in text, you have to use and to separate the last names. When you're doing it within parentheses, you have to use the ampersand. Now, for your reference list, the basic format is last name first and then initial the first name. And you would these do have to go alphabetically. So in text, no, they don't have to go alphabetically, but here they do. So be careful about that. And always separate the names by using a comma. Some works can have 3 or more authors. There's 2 ways to cite in-text references for this type of scenario. You can do an in-text citation. The first time you cite the authors within the text, you cite all 3 of them, separated by comma and then copyright within parentheses. The second time you cite the authors in text, you add et al. And then you do the copyright within parentheses. If you're not going to mention the authors within the text, you can mention them, but you're still mentioning their work. You mention them in the parentheses, separated by commas, including the copyright date. And you do the same thing the second time you do that. You still add et al, comma, and then the copyright date. For the purposes of your reference list, you can list up to 7 authors alphabetically and add ellipsis points after the 7th one, followed by the last author, and then the copyright date. If you're citing 2 works with authors by the same last name, you arrange them alphabetically. And then if their last names and initials happen to be the same thing, you move on to date and list them chronologically. You include the first name initial of the first author when you are citing in text. So for example, A. Doe 2016 found that, etc. If a work is listed as anonymous, you would cite the author as anonymous and then the date of the publication. Sometimes a work has been edited. To cite a work with no author in your reference list, you have to add either ed for one author or eds period for more than one author. If it's several authors, you could use et al. So in this example, where we have two authors, so it's last name, comma, initial of the first name, comma, last name, comma, first name initialed, and then eds in parentheses, period, and then followed by the publication date or the copyright date in parentheses, and then period. Work with an author. You include the author's name, the title of the book in this case, and then the same thing, we include both authors, except here we have to add in, the word in, and then we add eds because there's more than one author. This is just a summary of examples we've seen throughout this video. To cite the title of an article, you capitalize the first word of the title and the subtitle only, and any proper nouns, like names of organizations and people. Don't italicize the text. Also, do not include quotation marks around the text. Periodical titles, like the New York Times, you would give the full title, capitalize the first letters of each word, and italicize the whole thing. Books and reports, you would capitalize the first word of the title and subtitle and any proper nouns. In this case, you do italicize the title, include the edition, the report number, the volume number, or any other additional information in parentheses. But whatever you include in the parentheses, do not italicize. Other title types, you would include a notation of format in the brackets. For example, whether it's a web page, a YouTube video, or in this case, I use the example of a PDF file.